Hey, Reef enthusiasts, welcome back to our NORE live stream series. I'm Gavin Jones, NORE's Treasurer Secretary.
I'm Jeff Dick, NORE's president, and today we are joined by a very, very special guest and dear friend of the entire NORE community, and this month's live stream sponsor, Brian Tenda from 330 Corals.
What's up, guys?
Now, I'm Brian, thanks for joining us and for sponsoring this month's live stream. For those of you that don't know, 330 Corals is a small business based in Akron, Ohio. The business specializes in providing a wide variety of high-quality, sustainably sourced corals for aquarium enthusiasts and marine hobbyists. Brian's passion for marine life and love of coral reefs inspired him to start 330 Corals as a way to share his knowledge and enthusiasm with others. He carefully selects each coral specimen for its beauty, health, and sustainability, ensuring that customers receive only the best specimens for their aquarium. With a commitment to ethical and environmentally friendly practices, 330 Corals works closely with suppliers to ensure that all corals are responsibly harvested and handled with care. Brian also provides valuable information and resources to help customers properly care for their corals and create thriving marine ecosystems in their own homes. 330 Corals has quickly gained a reputation for exceptional quality and customer service, earning a loyal following of satisfied customers. Brian's dedication to providing top-notch products and expertise has made 330 Corals a trusted source for coral enthusiasts looking to enhance their aquariums with stunning and sustainable specimens. So, Brian, thank you very, very much for joining us and sponsoring this month's live stream. We're going to talk about your secrets of coral growth.
Oh, sounds good.
So, I do want to add one more thing in here before we get going. Brian is also a NORE club sponsor, and as along with Reef Culture, Dirty Dogs Coral, Sharkbait, A Dash of Poodle, and Harvey's Harbor. Without the support of these sponsors for our club, we wouldn't be able to put on the events that we do. So thank you to all our sponsors. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon to receive updates on all of our NORE. If I can talk now, all of our NORE videos. So Brian, you've been doing this for a while. What got you started in the hobby?
So I've always been into the aquarium thing, but I seen a yellow tang one day at a fish shop, and I said I want that. And then I seen corals, and I was like, I don't even want fish anymore. Just give me all the coral. I want all the corals. So and that kind of led me to where we are today.
So I got to ask you, Brian. So it was the fish that got you. How long did it take you to make that transition from I love the fish to ooh, coral's pretty cool?
It was about 2 days.
2 days. Oh, very quick. All right, love it.
2 days. Soon as I realized that corals were alive and they were real, I was like, this is it. Like it gets no better than this. I'm in love.
See, I'm the same way. We started with a starfish, and then I, did my digging and found coral, and yeah, here I am.
Right. It's easy to fall in love with all the colors and everything that they do.
Now, we saw, when I was doing your bio there, we saw your system set up there. Tell us a little bit about the system you have set up in your basement down there.
So right now I have two different systems. Both system has 3 lowboys, easy DIY 40 breeder sump, and they're just packed full of corals. I use gyres on one in every tank, and same protein skimmer on both systems, same return pumps, same UVs, same lights.
Now,
go ahead.
With the gyres, do you use Mass Spec, or what gyres are you running there?
Like, nothing against Max Spec, but I like Jabo equipment. It just has always worked great for me. We always hear those horror stories of cheap equipment, but for me, if anything breaks, I'd rather just buy 2 of them instead of the same cost as 4 of the Max Specs I can buy.
I mean, sometimes the best backup is the spare one you have sitting on your shelf. Like that's the best thing that you can do.
What I've heard a lot recently, you can spend $400 on one nice piece of equipment, or you can spend $100 on 4 okay pieces of equipment and $100 one will last you a while, and when it doesn't, you have another cheap backup. So nothing wrong with J-Bell, that's for sure.
Not to knock the higher end equipment, because I do really like that stuff. It's just, for me, it's not my bag.
And you see it in those videos, it's growing coral.
Oh yeah, like sometimes it's growing coral too fast.
So you have 6 tanks down there, two separate systems, right?
Right.
What made you decide to do it like that instead of one big system?
I like to have everything on its own. So like all of the 2 systems are all plumbed together, but each tank is individually plumbed. That way, if I need to shut something off, I can shut down one tank versus the whole system. Just in case of emergencies.
So when you say 2 systems, so it's really 2 completely different water volumes that you have, one for system 1 but in each one of those 3 tanks, you could, isolate tank 2 in system 1 and just run tanks 1 and 3. If you got to clean it out or I don't know, something happened that you're like, hey, we're just going to roll without this tank for a little bit.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we have our farm set up the exact same way, and it's very versatile to do it.
In system 1 is mainly for frags and for selling, and then system 2 is mainly grow outs.
And do you keep the parameters the same and everything identical between the 2?
I do. It's pretty crazy. It's my system 2, my grow out system. I keep that one a little bit higher in nutrients.
Okay.
Just because I think the coloration looks a little bit better. But in system 1, there's so many frags that I can't keep the nutrients up.
Yeah.
Now, what are what are you using to test all your parameters to keep them the same?
So each system has their own their own trident, and then I also use the Hannah eggs for everything. Really, I hate to say it, but I don't test my alkalinity, calcium, and magnesium. And my nitrate and phosphate, I'll probably check once every other week.
Not even with your trident? I'm assuming you're using the trident to do the alkalinity.
Oh yeah, the trident checks that for me, but really I'm only looking for trends in the trident first.
Yeah, you don't have the new trident MP yet?
No, and after, like, I was set up to grab a couple of them, and after seeing some reviews and some user experiences on them, I'm just going to wait a little bit. Let other people work out the bugs before.
Right. Now, what we talked about your parameters. What do you keep your parameters at? What do you feel works best for you?
My alkalinity, I like to keep anywhere from 8.2 to 8.7. My calcium, anywhere from 420 to 460. And my magnesium, I like it to be at 1350, but depending on how everything is using it up in the system and how the alkalinity and calcium is bouncing off of it, it drifts. But I try to stick around at 1350 to 1400.
So those all seem like pretty normal, reef tank parameters. What's your method of supplementation and dosing? And are you on a calcium reactor? Are you doing 2-part? Are you doing calc? Are you doing mix of everything? What are you doing?
So all I do is 2-part. BRS 2 parts. Yep.
Okay.
Soda ash.
That's what I run on my tank. It works.
It's what I run on all mine.
Like every now and then I'll throw an ICP out there, and some traces will be low, and I'll dose that for a couple of weeks, but then I get bored, and then it bears off.
Now you say you're doing traces. Are you doing like moonshiner traces or just random couple little things?
Just random, like whatever. Okay. I only buy that bottle of, and granted, I have probably 10 bottles down here now that once the ICP comes back, I'm like, oh yeah, I can see that. Like if my fluoride's a little bit low, I'm like, oh yeah, my blues aren't bluing.
What ICP tester you're using?
Triton.
Triton,
I believe it is.
So you only dose your traces once you get that test back, and then dose to correct?
Yeah. But even when I do get those tests back, I don't follow their suggestions. I only dose half of what they suggest.
I've gone by that method for so much. You tell me that I need 500 milliliters, I would put 250 and see
Right?
where
Yeah.
we go.
Yeah. There's no
Now-
sense in rushing anything in this hobby.
Did you notice any difference in your coral from when you're not dosing to when you are dosing trace elements?
No, it just makes me feel good inside.
I will say I have noticed. So I use the Red Sea, what is it, the ABCD?
Yep.
The 4 different ones, and I have noticed if I slack off and don't dose for a while, my hammers aren't as happy.
Hmm.
But when I start dosing my traces again, they open back up. But I dose based off of the calcium consumption.
The only thing that I can really notice in the corals is my blues and my yellows. And besides that, everything else I think is just in my head.
Yeah.
Now, Brian, are you putting any traces into your BRS2 part, or just letting the corrections when you get your ICPs be your traces?
I do the Fauna Marin 1 and 2, I believe it is. Where you
Okay,
just put
got it.
a couple of drops into your gallon mix or your 5-gallon mix.
Got it. Yeah, no, it is similar with it's the Tropic Marin. I think K plus and A minus or something like that. Whatever
something
those
like
are.
that. Yeah,
I let that do the bulk of the work, and then just do the fine tuning with it. Yeah.
But Jeff, you do moonshiners, don't you?
I do. Yeah, but
So-
it's the Tropic Marin that's actually doing the bulk of the work of those traces. So rather than putting in, say every night 6 milliliters of iron into the tank, I'll let the Tropic Marin, which is always going on in with the alkalinity, carry a bulk of that work, and I'm just kind of correcting it is what it is, just giving it that little extra boost.
I just got an ICP test back a few weeks ago, and my iron was low, so I had to up my iron a bit. But I think it's because all my Kato's sucking it.
I was gonna say, are you
Sucking it
running
out.
Kato? Because Kato will suck your iron clean out of that system.
No, Jeff, do you use the Oshimo for your moonshiners?
Oshimo.
What
Say.
ICP
Oh no, I'm using ATI.
ATI?
Yeah.
What's the turnaround time for that?
If you either UPS it, that's what I usually do, is UPS it to California. It's anywhere between 12 to 14 days.
But you have to pay extra for the UPS.
It's $9, $8, something like that.
Man,
So okay.
$9. $9
But-
sounds about right.
Yeah, $9, but it also saves you a week. So
Right.
that's
Yeah. So we know you like to keep it simple, Brian, and I know your lighting is nice and simple. What do you have for lights on your tank?
So I run the Night Crew Hypergrow 150s. They're,
Somebody's getting an important phone call.
Yeah, that was spam.
they're I used to run the controller on them, but now when I switch to the actual farm, it's just on and off.
Really?
I don't have a sun up, sun down anymore.
So it's your lights are on or your lights are off. What? How long's your photo period that you're running?
12 hours. I run a
12
12
hours.
hour period. But each tank is individual too. LPS might be in this tank and it'll be a little lower par, and then my SPS will be in this tank, so a couple notches higher.
But they all come out at the same time and they all go
Yep.
off at the same time.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
What do you keep your par at?
For the most part, 125 in the frag system. In the grow out system, the LPS tank running around 120, 125, and then the SPS system, they're up close to 300.
So right around normal ranges.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
I don't-
that's,
I don't like
Those-
to go over 300 par.
and that's coming from the Night Crew, right?
Yeah. Yep.
What do those run? You get those on Amazon, don't you?
Yeah, I think they're up to 190 now, but when they first came out, they were only $120.
But still, they're like a dual puck design, aren't they?
There's three pucks.
3 pucks.
Yep.
So 3 pucks for 190, and an AI Prime right now is like 260 to 280.
Yeah.
And compare that to a a Radeon that is nearly
Yeah,
$1,000.
What, an XR 30? Yeah,
30's $950, I think, right now.
that's crazy. And you're getting the same, the same type of growth, same par levels as those super expensive lights.
And you know what's sad is I just picked up a XR30 Pro last weekend or the weekend before. I was like, I'll put that above the SPS tank just to give it a little bit more oomph. I had to take it off. I was like, I don't like this.
And what made you not like it?
I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze with those lights. I'm getting better. I like the Spectrum better out of the Night Cruise than I did the XRs.
We get Reef Trader saying here, light is light as long as the spectrum is close.
Yeah.
That I think you're right, but we can bring 10 different people on here.
Oh, yeah.
That'll go metal halides, T5s,
That's a whole nother topic. That's like you can go for hours.
Oh, and you could find people that'll die on every sword possible.
Yeah.
You need to have this light. It's so much better. And then another person will say the exact opposite.
Yep. I stick with what works.
I run T5s over my frag system, AI primes over my main display, and nothing I have was bought brand new, and they all work.
Yeah.
And I have all Radeons, and at least 3 of them have already been back to Ecotech because they've died. So,
and because I have I have probably 15 of these Night Cruise in the basement here, and anytime I've had a problem, I just email their customer support, and they say take a picture, take a video, and then they send me out whatever I need.
That's awesome. That's great.
They might not always speak the best English, but they get it taken care of.
With some translate apps, they figure it out. They make it happen for you.
They get it taken care of.
Now, what's your regular maintenance routine? So you got what, 50, 100, 150 display plus your 40 sump. That's a lot of water moving down there. Water changes. What all do you do?
So water changes, I only do a 5-gallon water change a week on each system. Actively, that's my water change.
And how many gallons do you say?
150 on each system, roughly.
Okay.
But
no, the water change. How much are you changing?
5 gallons.
Oh, wow. So a very small percentage.
Yeah.
Very small percentage of the whole system.
The caveat is I also sell a lot. Normally I sell a lot of coral on Sunday, so that makes up another 5 to 10 gallons too. So just figure around 10 to 15 gallons. So even on a 150 gallon system, that's still not that much a week.
10%, which is kind of essentially what you're supposed to be doing.
But is that 5 gallons? Is that the same water that you're doing? You still doing weekly dips on your coral?
Yep. So that's my water change day. And actually, the dipping coral I've cut back to every other week. My water change, or my dipping bucket that I dip all of my racks in, holds exactly 5 gallons. So all I do is take out the water from the frag tanks, throw it in the 5-gallon tub to dip the racks in, and then right there's my water change. Throw the corals back in the tanks, and I'm good to go.
I need to adopt that same practice.
It's so fast and easy. You should do it.
Do you run any sort of carbon or GFO, or what's your filtration?
I do run carbon, but I leave it in there so long that it probably doesn't do anything anyways. But
isn't it like carbon, like pretty much after 3 days it loses its effectiveness anyway?
Yeah, and I leave it in there for like 3 weeks at a time. So I know it's not really doing anything, but it makes me feel good.
It's there. It's going through. It's doing something.
And I'm the same way. The carbon in my sump over here, it's probably been months since I've changed. I throw carbon when I do a water change and I see my water's a little yellow, throw some carbon in, forget about it, and it'll get changed out at some point.
Yeah. Like I even use the cheap carbon, the marine land, like $20 for like a huge bucket of it.
And you can go to like your local normal just pet store to get it too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no need to order it online.
Excuse me. So
Local fish store, because I still like to go to fish stores. That's the hardest thing about having, a couple frag systems is there's just no time to go out and see the LFSs.
yeah, you got a lot of work on your hands there.
It's not too bad.
Now, so when you do your water changes that's when you dip, what are you dipping with?
That's secret. No, I'm just playing. So potassium chloride. I forget what video I was watching, but I tried it one day, and man, the stuff that just came off. Like, unfortunately, it kills pods and stuff too. It kills everything, but it's so gentle on the corals. I used to use what's the blue bottle? Coral RX.
Coral RX. Yep.
Yeah.
It kind of smells like pine sol.
Yeah.
I swear it's pine sol in that bottle.
Yeah, and that's what I used to use. And once I got turned on to the potassium chloride, it's so much easier. It's so much cheaper. And actually, Polyp Lab makes Reef primer, which is basically potassium chloride, but they have some extra stuff in it.
Some secret sauce to make it a little better.
But I'm happy with the potassium chloride right now.
Kelly had a good question here. Can you dip all types of coral in the potassium chloride?
I do, but I've never came across anything that has any kind of adverse effects from it. I know a lot of the SPS guys swear by it for sticks, but I dip everything in it. The whole rack, 77 frags on each rack. Doesn't matter if it's LPS, SPS, softies. I do it all.
Now, Kelly, Coral RX and Revive the same thing.
I believe they've got similar ingredients, but they're different brands. So there's probably some chemical differences between the two. But I think they're both orange juice. Just one's Tropicana and the other's Sunny D. Like they're similar.
I got a bottle of Revive here. Let me grab it real quick.
I've actually got a bottle of Coral RX. We can go compare ingredients here.
I got all the above here. See what they do? They just leave me by myself to talk to you guys. Throw some questions up in the chat while they look at their bottles.
I have a bag of I got the potassium chloride.
Yeah.
I have a bag of that somewhere down here. I have no clue where it went. So looking at the bottle of Revive, it says contains, I'm going to butcher this, Oleum abietis, OLEUM ABIETIS, and citrus. I mean, it is two little fishies, so I wouldn't say it's necessarily, bad, but I do know the potassium chloride is a lot easier on the coral.
Coral RX doesn't like to tell you much. Ingredients: distilled water, proprietary blend of natural extracts.
Yeah.
And I did hear we were talking about the Reef primer having little something extra in it.
Definitely smells like
I
pine
think it's
sol.
pomegranate, something that Reef primer adds to theirs. Don't
I think
quote me on
what's it? It's a have it. The flatworm stop product that is the blue bottles that are super expensive. They're like $110 a bottle, whatever. That is. It's like linseed oil is what it's got. Another very distinct smell, but I guess that's what that product actually is.
You got Reef Trader asking here, no stunted growth from dipping every 2 weeks?
No, not really. Like, they just keep growing. Like, even when I try to slow things down, they just keep growing.
So I do know
Like, they're
if I
not
were
happy about it. I can guarantee they're not happy about it, but you know, the next day it's just like nothing happened.
I believe I heard somewhere Chris Meckley at ACI Aquaculture. He dips everything that he's sending out. I do believe it's him. If he's sending it out right before he bags it, he dips it. And I think that closes everything up, and I think he's found that things ship better that way too.
It's an interesting thought. I could see some positives to that and some things that might, why would you stress it out right before it has to ship? But so there's some pros and cons there.
I think it has to do with if you get it to retract, then it's not opening up and doing stuff in the bag. I
But
forget
you
exactly.
probably want to make sure you're rinsing every bit of that coral dip off of it before you're actually putting it in the water that you're shipping it.
Yeah, there's a great in one of the podcasts that I listened to, he was talking about it. I forget which one it was, but I did find that super interesting that he uses the potassium chloride right before he ships.
Okay.
You got Kelly asking here, so what about KFC dip? Any experience?
So I've tried it. I didn't get the same results as everybody else did, and the potassium chloride was the cure all for me, because you know, KFC, from my experience, everybody uses it for brown jelly, and you know, when I get in Euphilia now, they'll go into the tank for a day or two, and then I'll dip them. I never dip anything same day as they come in. But ever since I've transitioned over to only potassium chloride, I haven't had brown jelly ever again.
And I haven't used it enough to see a lot of difference, but I need to get into regular dipping like you. That's for sure.
I think it might stunt your corals, but I would rather have frags not grow as fast as they could in my tanks and make sure that they're clean for the customer, rather than, and then once you get them home, they're nice and clean and they take off in your tank.
See, weren't you dosing nitrates at one point because you had so much?
Yep.
Are you still dosing nitrates?
I'm not. I'm just heavy feeding now, like super duper heavy. It's ridiculous how much food I'm throwing in these tanks on a daily basis.
What's your feeding schedule?
So each tank has their own auto feeder. It has a smorgasbord of everything from pellets to flakes to coral food. And then in the evenings, after I get off of work, I come down and feed a smorgasbord of frozen stuff.
So you're really hitting them with a little bit of everything.
Everything. Like, my skimmers go nuts.
Now, because I know you got everything exactly the same. What skimmers are you running?
They are Bubble Magnus. They're like their 10th year anniversary ones. But they use the same pump as the Curve 9s, like the SPK 2000 or something like that.
I think it's really neat, looking at your tanks. You go down and you got your frags and everything on one side, and then you flip around and it's a mirror image, just with different coral.
Yeah, keeps maintenance so much easier. And then if something breaks, I know I have a spare part sitting on the shelf that'll fit whatever system it broke. That way, there's no downtime whatsoever, or minimal.
It's a smart way to do it, because you could basically, be running two of something and have one backup, and it's a backup for either one. The odds of two skimmers breaking in the same week, you gotta have real bad luck if that happens.
Yeah.
As it says down below, Gavin just threw it up there. If you do have any questions for Brian, myself, or Gavin, please drop them into the comments. We would love to answer them for you. So even anything we're talking about or anything different, please drop them down in the comments below.
So, Brian, how often are you fragging? And do you notice when you do frag a lot, you notice any issues that arise in the tank from any of the slime or any of the stressed coral like that?
So normally I'm fragging a couple times a month. Like I try to do them in sessions to where I'm fragging for like 4, 5, 6 hours at a time. I don't like cleaning out my salt. Honestly, that's the only reason why, where I'd be fragging all the time. But when I
It's like
do,
if you're gonna get your saw dirty, make it worth it. Frag
yeah,
for a while.
yeah. If I'm gonna have to clean the saw out, I'm gonna make it worth my while. So I really don't have too many issues. Yeah, it slimes up, but I just turn my gyres up, and then everything goes down the overflow.
Yeah, do you have any leathers in there, or when you
Yep.
frag those,
Yep.
do you add extra carbon when you're doing
Yeah.
that?
So normally, if I'm cutting any kind of softies, that's when the carbon gets changed out. That's when I know it's time to change the carbon. Is when I'm fragging softies. And it doesn't matter if it's pulsing xenia or cloves. If it's a softie and I'm fragging it, I'm changing the carbon that day.
So I don't know if you saw this, Brian, but Mike says hi. He's watching from the airport.
My man, what's up, Mike?
So yeah, as you see, we go through a lot of the questions. I know we're streaming live to YouTube right now, and we're streaming to Brian's Facebook page at 330 Corals. So we see both. So leave any questions if you have any thoughts. We will break completely off and hit those if it's good enough. I want to go back to one about lighting. Bob brought this up. So beginning of the month, we had a tour of Tidal Gardens. He said that Than said during the tour that he suggested lights could be generic.
Mm-hmm.
So you go into Tidal Gardens and pretty much everything in the main buildings, ecotech. But then you go into the greenhouse and he's got Viper specters and everything, and it's growing coral. So that back to the point that not all your equipment has to be top end.
Yeah. And actually, when I first started, I had black boxes, and then I kind of upgraded to the Ocean Revives. And man, I wish they still made those things.
I've got one of your Viper specters.
Do you?
Yeah, I bought one of them from you.
They're really good lights. It's just the spread isn't as much as I would like.
Yeah.
Whereas the Ocean Revives were a little bit wider, and you could hit a wider tank with them a little bit easier. The what is it? Reef breeders? Is that what you run, Jeff?
Yeah, reef breeders. So we've got all the V2s.
Really yeah.
They're great, and for the price point of it, you could get a lot. They're 48-inch one, which is basically the amount of light output of 3 XR30s for just a little less than the cost of one XR30, like a third of the cost, and it's this giant 40, and they come in a bunch of different sizes. So they come, everywhere from the small ones. We've got all the 36s and the 48s. But the color's great. I mean, people come in all the time and they're like, what kind of lights are these? I've never seen color like this. And it's, they're reef breeders. That's it.
They look super neat too. I love the look of them.
They're very low profile, especially if you hang them. They just kind of like this flat little shelf.
Low profile, but don't they have a lot of like individual diodes instead of like a...
Yeah, I mean, they're all little diodes and all the different colors are mixed together.
So yeah, I like how they look on the underside. That's for sure.
I did forget to tell you guys that I'm running the Reef Brights XHOs too.
The strip lights?
Yeah. I got those used from Jason Fox, and I put them on there just for some accent lighting. Like I really haven't seen a difference since I put them on a couple months ago.
Did you have those up for the tank tour?
I don't think so.
I'm gonna say
they're still hidden.
I don't remember seeing them.
Yeah, no, they're up now though.
I hear a lot of people throw in some sort of strip light in, either to get that little bit of extra blue because whatever light they're using doesn't have it, or just to add that little extra par or hit the coral from a different angle.
I think that's the biggest benefit that I see with that. Of we keep hitting coral from the top down, but if you got your main lights and then you put in some strips and shoot it in from the side, what is it that lights corals out there on the reef? It's not the sun, it's the sky. because it's the entire sky that is radiating light on down. So that's why it's coming in at the corals, on the reef, at all different angles.
Yeah.
That's how my reef brights are. They're, you know, off on the ends and just pointing straight down into the tank.
No, inappropriate reefer on YouTube and Instagram a while ago, he added some strip lights like that to hit from that different angle. Something I'm thinking about doing in my tank. Like I said, I don't buy new, so I'm gonna have to find something used.
If nothing
Now,
else, just do it for the pop, because the corals really pop with that super deep blue. At least mine do.
Yeah, when I got the behind-the-scenes tour of Worldwide Corals and their big 1,500-gallon tank in the back of their main flagship store, yeah, they've got the radions that are, you know, depth pointing straight down, but also along the entire front two edges. Those radions are pretty much at 45-degree angles, shooting in on those colonies. So it's definitely light being crossed, kind of like lighting a stage almost, to where, you know, you're shooting the light in at different angles to kind of really cover it at all sides.
This is a whole nother different debate. Sand or bare bottom. If you got that sand, you got some more reflection to kind of light the underside of the tank.
Got, yeah, a bit more of a white, lighter-ish surface to kind of hit the bottom.
I know that. Yeah, that's a whole different debate that we don't need to get into today. Go into the comments real quick. Wayne, he says, Brian, I got some corals from you years ago, still doing great, but now my tank is full.
Oh, corals is just like Jello. I appreciate the comment, Wayne. Thank you very much. I'm glad that they're still doing good. But corals, they're like Jello. There's always more room. There's always more room.
You'll find it. It's just, you gotta figure.
I mean, look at my tanks. Like, there is not an inch of space that doesn't have coral. It's almost unsafe at times, but it's fun.
You know, I always tell you, Brian, I don't have room for it. I don't have room for it. You know, but I still get the little things and find more. That's for sure. Kelly had a question here. Any concern for cross-contamination cutting different corals?
I think there is, but out of sight, out of mind. I haven't had any adverse effects from cutting a bunch of different corals.
Now, I guess clarifying this right here, is there any concern cross-contamination cutting different corals? Are you talking specifically on the saw? So, you know, Kelly, maybe you want to just further clarify. Are you talking like, excuse me, if you run some zoas through a saw, are you worried about the zoa juice affecting an acro that you might be hitting next, or, you know, something like that? Because if so, we try to go in a pattern of your least aggressive first to your most aggressive near the end. So you kind of plan your fragging in that order of, okay, this guy his juices might get everybody else upset. We're going to do him at the end. She said yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So yes, you would kind of start with your least aggressive and then go more aggressive if you're doing a long fragging session without cleaning the saw fully.
Yeah, your best bet would be, though, to clean the saw and change out that water.
That really is the most sanitary way to do it. You know, for peace of mind, I would suggest it. I don't always do it, but
do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, exactly.
Best practice says you should.
Exactly. But you might be able to get away with not doing it
until you can't.
Right.
Now, Brian, if you could point out like one thing, your biggest thing to the success of your coral growth, what do you think it would be?
Stability. Stability. Like, anytime anybody asks me about parameters or anything, or what they can do better, I say keep your tank stable, as stable as possible. It doesn't matter what your numbers are, what salt you use, any of that. As long as your numbers are stable, you're going to have success. And, you know, early on, when, like, I was always chasing numbers. I was always, my alkalinity dropped 1. I need to up it real quick. And I learned lessons the hard way. I've killed a lot of coral in my day. I think we all have, but you know, today I try to preach stability because stability will take your corals to a whole nother level.
And I would agree. Yeah. Yeah.
I agree totally. On it's better to have a stable, maybe not perfect number than the perfect number that you keep bouncing over and going above and going below and keep adding this and then water changing that just to hit it. Like, you know what? If things are happy, let it be. Like, let it go.
On the last live stream, I talked with Tanner about my phosphates and how high my phosphates were. They were at 0.84, I think.
Okay, that's high. That's really
But
high.
that's really high. But they've probably been consistently like that. So I haven't seen any issues from it.
Coral's a resilient animal. I mean, it will learn to adapt. It wants to live. Like, coral wants to live. So it will learn to adapt to get used to whatever you give it. Now, but if you had 0.8 and then you had 0.05 and then you went to 0.6 and then you went to 0, it's not going to be happy doing that.
Mm-hmm.
So Luke jumped in here. We were talking about cleaning the saw, and he says, clean the saw often if you don't have a drip and drain. So definitely, yeah, I would.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to throw everything together. That's just me. But I hate losing coral because of something I do.
So when I'm fragging, I only fill up because I have the Griffin, so it has that basin in the bottom that you got to put water in. I only put enough water in there that once it starts to run dry, that's when I go rinse it off real quick. I don't totally sterilize it or by any means, but that's when I'll go rinse it out in the shop sink and then come back and start all over again.
Kelly's next comment, yeah, this one right here. She says, I had the most success with consistency in high nitrates, and I started chasing numbers because the fish community made me feel like I was crazy. I'm not sure how high is high for you, but I think I've got higher nitrates than most people that keep SPS dominant tanks. They're usually in the 20, 25-ish range, but they always have been, and everything's really happy and everything's growing. I'm not going to battle it. I'm not going to say, oh, it needs to be 10 or less. You know what? Let it go.
I think right now my grow out SPS system is at 13.
Yeah.
See, my tank is at 20. And I've had them as high as 34 in the past year, and I'd have to go back further after that.
Yeah, she just jumped in and said 75. I mean, it's on the higher-ish side, but at least it's a measurable number. You're not like just red over.
Now I gotta look.
Off the charts.
Yeah, I'm usually falling somewhere in the 20, 25, maybe 28, but everything
Actually, stays
happy, so I got great color.
My phosphates are real high right now on both systems. And it's because I'm overfeeding, but I'm not too concerned. Everything looks happy. Not worried about it.
Gavin, you want to bring up Bob's comments? Great comment there.
I think looking back, September 22, I think my highest nitrate was 46. See, where's Bob's?
Bob says, what's the best way to mount frags onto your aquascape when you have an all-natural coral skeleton scape, and then remove the plug plate if something doesn't make it? Ooh, I'd love to hear your answer, Brian, and then I can answer this one too.
So, a lot of people are going to say epoxy, but BRS, super glue.
Super glue. Go the super glue route. Okay.
Like even the Dollar Tree, they're super glues.
It's all the same stuff, whether it comes from a BRS bottle or the Dollar Tree Hobby Lobby bottle. It's a cyanoacrylate. That's the ingredient of it. So I guess my question, or my answer to you, Bob, on this one is, it kind of depends on what you're growing. If, say, example, I'm putting a Monty frag on in there, and it's a tiny little Monty piece on a frag plug. I don't care how well I hide that plug, because it's going to grow over it. I'm never going to see it. Come back in a month, and you're never going to see that plug. I do actually a combination of epoxy and super glue. So it's basically super glue on the frag plug, a little ball of epoxy, a little bit more super glue. The super glue is what's doing the nice tight bond, and the epoxy is what's smoothing out any irregularities. And you can pretty much jam it anywhere you need to, whether it's straight down, on a sideways. I try to mount a lot of SPS coming off sideways to give it more natural looking, so it doesn't just look like a bunch of trees in the forest. It kind of looks a little bit more natural. So I'll use that. And the nice part is, because you have that epoxy in there, if you ever did need to take it out, really you just reach down and just kind of twist it and it pops right off. I just had actually an acro fall onto a Monty, and yeah, I just got to go in there, clean the epoxy out, and I can re-glue something else right in that little slot.
See, I do the same thing, depending what I'm gluing down. But I have the Marco Rock, so it's got the decent holes in it, and I'll fill a hole with epoxy, super glue, epoxy, fill that hole, and then super glue on the frag to the epoxy. So when it kind of blends in, and it's a little better foundation for the coral.
Another thing that I just recently started doing this a couple frags ago that I put into the display. So I had some air, pretty much all my top real estate was all taken up. So all my good spots are these weird, intricate little places down below. And I'm like, I'm going to be hanging down inside this tank, having to hold it for 60 seconds. It's going to be a pain in the ass to do this. So what I ended up doing is taking the frag, mounting it on, call it a little rubble rock. So a little rock, I don't know, a little bit bigger than a quarter, maybe 50-cent piece size rock. Mount it on there. Corals can stay out of water for 4, 5, 6 minutes or longer. They're going to be fine. So mount it to there. Now you have it on this big old rock. Now you've got a big mounting surface. You can epoxy it super glue and just go clunk right on into wherever you need to. And it's worked really well. Yes, you have a bone white rock now in the tank. Give it a couple months and it'll be just as purple as the rest of them.
Yeah. I've done that exact same thing. Where you find...
I did it kind of once. I was like, I'm not going to be able to hold this frag into there. So I put it on a rock and put the rock in. I was like, okay, that worked. Now I can try this again. It also starts to give you a new... When you start needing to make new spaces, I'm like, okay, I have one space, but I have two things. So if I put a rock here, I can put one thing going out each way. Now I have two spaces. That's back to what Brian says. You can always get more coral.
I'm OCD enough that I find a rock that fits perfectly into the hole I'm trying to... But, yeah, that's just me. Kelly says no SPS. She could only do softies and LPS. Wayne talking about chasing numbers. He threw a lot of good water away chasing numbers.
Yeah, within reason. If your alkalinity is 3, yeah, you might want to start worrying about that, bringing that on up. But if you're wake up one day and it's 7.8 and not 8.5, don't freak out. Doing nothing or slowly correcting the problem is much better than going, let's just start dumping soda ash in to bring this up.
Now, Brian, I want to get to kind of 330 corals and how people can buy your coral. So how do they get a hold of you? What are your hours and where can they find you?
So it's all appointment only. Corals, this is my side gig. I work for the post office during the day, so Facebook, Instagram, and working on a website actually. So soon the website should be live. I'd probably say another month or so, but message us through Facebook or Instagram. We'll get an appointment set up. Super easy to work with. We take both cash and credit card.
And also, you're a vendor at Frag Swaps as well, aren't you?
Yeah. You'll see us at... I try to keep it within a 4-hour distance. That's my goal. I don't like to drive more than 4 hours.
So which ones do you have coming up, say, in this fall season?
So this fall, Dayton, what's the name of that?
Ohio Reef Frag Swap.
Yes,
Yep.
I just saw the ad for that today. I know which one you're talking about.
September 14th. September 14th.
And then NORE's Fragenstein's coming up.
September 28th.
28th. There's Lear's up in, what is that, Cleveland? I think
Strongsville? I think it's Strongsville.
Strongsville? Yeah. I think we do that one too.
That's in February.
It's always the coldest day of the winter. That is always what.
Last
what
year it
Lear
wasn't
falls
too
on.
bad though.
It's
Oh,
always
no.
cold.
Chilly, but it wasn't bad.
The
Ohio,
the,
February.
the Cincy swap was the coldest day of the
Well,
winter.
that was a blizzard. That was a blizzard day.
That was negative degrees. That was
Oh,
cold.
you know, there's one in Columbus for Cora. The Cora.
There is. That is after
November.
NORE. Yeah,
I think that's in
November.
November. Yeah.
I'll tell you a day here. November.
I'm not sure on the dates. The wife, the boss, keeps all
November
all that
16th.
stuff for me. November 16th. Yeah. So we'll be at all those shows. And you know, if you're not local to us, come see us at one of the shows. And then we also like to take day trips too. So every now and then, like last weekend, we were in Lima. And, you know, I put out a message on Facebook. I said, hey, we're coming to Lima. If you've never had the opportunity because of a drive, shoot us a message. We'll bring corals with us. And sure enough, it was a great weekend. We got to meet some new friends out there. And you know, this hobby just brings so many people together for all the right reasons.
You know, Kelly had a question. Are you going to start shipping as well?
It's in the works.
It's in the works. You know, we brought up Frankenstein, and you know, I teased everyone in the Facebook group, and I completely forgot about it. We're going to give away some early bird entries. So right now, the only way you can get early bird entry is if you're a NORE Gold member, and you have to be a Gold member. So what I want to do, see, there's 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 people watching right now. So let's do, I say two, we'll do 2 early entries. All you have to do is leave a comment in, now this is going to be the YouTube video. So if you're on Facebook, go ahead and jump over to the YouTube as well. Leave a comment in the YouTube using the hashtag Frankenstein2024. I will drop that in the comments right now.
Good luck trying to learn how to spell Frankenstein. It took me like a year and a half to figure out how to spell that.
Now, look, I do it right every time, Jeff. And now that you messed with my head,
I think anytime I've typed it, it's been in my phone. So I must have typed it right one time and then it saved it for me.
yeah. So now I gotta look because.
Well, Wayne says, I've tried several times to get into frag swaps, even NORE. If you're talking as a vendor, now's a great time for me to tell you that vendor registration for NORE's frag swap on September 28th is going to go live this Friday, as in 2 days from now, at 10 a.m. Last year, we sold the show out in less than 2 hours. So you're going to want to be on there right there at 10 a.m. to grab your spot. Probably no less than 8 people messaged me today, and they're like, can you just save me a spot? And I'm like, dude, if I saved one for you, I'd have to save one for everyone, and I wouldn't have a show left. Like, everything would just be sold. So it really is first come, first serve, come 10 a.m. on Friday.
So I dropped that hashtag in the comments on YouTube. Now we'll go through. I'm on midnights tonight, so about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30, I'll go through and we'll pick, as I said, two people to get early bird access. Now, if you're already a Gold member, I have the membership list. Sorry, you're not going to win. So
because you already get early access, so it's not like you're losing anything. You already won.
You know, so we'll be doing that, and then keep paying attention to our Facebook. We have the tank of the month contest that ends.
Say that. Wayne just said, say that date again. It goes live. Vendor registration goes live this Friday, which is August 2nd at 10 a.m. You can find out all this information at nore.fish, the NORE website. Just there's a big blue button I added up there just this afternoon. Well, that's upcoming events. It's actually nore.fish/swap. So if you want to create that, /swap is what it is. But there's a big blue button at the top of the page that says frag swap. You can click that. All that information's up there on the website. There it is. Or you go to that URL right there.
But I was saying the Tank of the Month contest, which actually ends tonight at 9 o'clock for July. So if you haven't gone on and voted, go to our Facebook group and vote for your favorite. But the winner of that this month is going to get a NORE Gold family membership. So their entire family will have early bird access. And so we've got August. Yeah, we've got August coming up. And I will imagine that it's going to be something similar where you'll be able to win either membership, early bird access, or something specifically tailored to the Frankenstein swap. So keep an eye on our Facebook page for that for sure. Said Reef Tom, pretty sure you're only a silver member this year. If you need to know, shoot me a message on Facebook and I will look for you. But if you're not a member and you want early bird access, any membership purchased after September 1st will roll into 2025. So if you want early bird access, get that gold membership in September and you'll be good for all of next year.
That's a deal.
It is.
It's like a 1.5, 2-for-1 deal, or 1.5 for 1, whatever that is. Yes.
Let me get 2 of those.
Well, you'll be there Friday night, Brian.
Yeah, I guess I will.
Maybe that's
you
something.
get very early access. As long as you buy your booth at 10 a.m. on Friday, boom, jump on there.
I'll be
Sign up.
Maybe that's something we could do. We could do behind the scenes of the frag swap and like early bird where you can come check things out Friday night. I don't know. I'm just spitballing.
I like where you're going, but that's rough.
Yeah.
Because these vendors are still setting up at that point. They're like, yeah, we're not ready to sell anything.
Not to sell, just see behind the scenes. You know, my first, well, when I did Frankenstein was my first like swap, putting on and having a booth. And it was so neat watching everybody come in and how the different vendors, you know, they have their system. If you've ever been to a frag swap and you've seen Frost Corals, and if you watch him everything he has fits into one van. And if you watch him pack it and unpack it, he has a system in it, and it works. It's great.
Figured out so far ahead of everybody else.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy.
So you know, we got a few more minutes here. Go through the comments. If you have any more comments, you know, leave them in the chat. Questions, you know, for Brian. You know, questions about the club. Questions about the frag swap. Go ahead and drop them in there. You know, and as always, you make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell. We got some pretty good videos in the pipeline. We'll be wrapping up the tank tour video. We just visited Tidal Gardens at the beginning of the month, so there'll be a video coming out for that. And like I said, a couple more giveaways in the Facebook group. So make sure, you know, like, subscribe, hit the bell, and follow us on Facebook. Brian, you got anything to add? You know, we talked about what you thought would be your...
just keep it simple, guys. You know, overcomplicating this stuff is just going to do more harm than anything. Just keep it simple. Keep your water stable. If you can keep water, you can keep coral.
Yeah.
That's it. You're maintaining water, because if you maintain that water, the coral just grows as a byproduct.
It really does. Sometimes too fast.
Yep.
I got to get rid of some of my Hollywood stunner that's growing on the glass. That thing.
I love the stunner shallows. It's awesome. Like, it grows pretty fast, but it's still such a cool
stunner
coral.
grows very fast. It's now creeping along the bottom in my tank, and I'm like, I'm gonna leave it till it's a problem, and then I'll figure it out.
Wayne, been at your house back when it was in the front in your closet. Happy to see you grow.
Yeah, guys, I started out with a little 20-gallon long, like years and years ago, and it was literally in a closet because the wife was like, "Nah, You got to keep it in here, away from everything.
And now she's going to frag swaps and helping you sell.
Yeah, you know, and she loves it now. Like she makes coral cookies for the kids. So if you guys have kids and you ever see us at a swap, stop by, say hi to the wife. I guarantee you're gonna leave the booth with something. And trust me, you won't have to pay for anything. Just come see us, bring your kids with you. She's always got cookies, shirts, hats. Just come say hi to the wife. She loves seeing kids in the house. Majority of the time when the kids come over to the house, I'm sending them home with coral. So
Thank you. We're having some.
future, so keep it rolling.
Brian, your audio's going in and out there.
Great.
But hey, at least we hit the hour mark without any issues.
Did it come back or no?
Yeah, it's
now-
back. We hear you.
Oh, it's back.
I know the first time I went to Brian's, it was like had been like fall of 2020. No, probably more closer to winter. And you had everything in your front room. You had your display and just that little frag tank. So to see you go from that to what you had with the frag tanks upstairs, and now your 6-tank system downstairs.
And it just keeps getting bigger too. Like there's more plans in the works. It's just
You planning on putting a display tank back up?
I am. Right now we're still working with dimensions and cost. And then after we get all that figured out, I already know how I want the tank and everything. It's just the dimensions and whether or not I want to put in 2 more systems or a display tank in 1 system. So still working out some numbers, but it's in the works. I can't go too long without a display. I gotta have a business card.
Jeff, you got anything you want to add? What you think people need to know to get their coral growing nonstop?
I mean, Brian hit the biggest one right there. Stability. Stability is it. That's the absolute key. And it doesn't have to be complex. It really doesn't. There's a lot of things out there that can make your life easier, but an apex inherently isn't going to make your corals grow faster. It might notify you and tell you if something's going wrong, and there's big benefits there, but you don't need every single tool out there to be able to have success and be successful.
Oh, you know what? One more thing. When I first started, there wasn't a local saltwater club until NORE came about. I had to. There were some older people that helped me along the way, but for the most part, I had to read forums, YouTube videos. I had to learn everything I've learned through trial and error and reading, and I really don't like to read. So the NORE Club, if you're not a part of the NORE Club yet, become a member. The NORE Club's doing something within the saltwater world that no other clubs are doing. They're when you ask a question on their page, everybody that answers is friendly. Back in the day on a forum when I would ask a question, I'd get 30 responses of my tank's gonna blow up.
And 25 will telling you that you're wrong and you're an idiot.
Yeah, exactly. So make sure you guys check out the NORE page. If you're not a member, become a member. It's absolutely 100% worth it.
And memberships start at $30 a year. Less than the price of a frag.
I'm a sponsor and a member, so come on, guys.
So let me go to the membership here. So our Facebook group, we're sitting about 12,000 people in our Facebook group. And what's nice?
1,200.
That's what I meant to say.
I'm like,
Thank
unless
you.
we got a
Yeah.
lot of growth
Whoa.
in the last couple hours.
Someday.
Yeah. So we're about 1,200. Thank you. In our Facebook group. And what's nice is that's all local to Ohio, mostly Northeast Ohio. We got some outliers. We got, friends down in, Cincinnati or over in PA, but most of those people are, Northeast Ohio.
And it's not just random guys selling coral from, Idaho in our group gonna spam you. Like, no.
Oh, no,
we actually screen them. I was doing a couple actually earlier here on this live stream. Going here, we look at you. We make sure you're a real person. We make sure that you actually live in the area, that you actually answer the questions. Because if you can't answer 3 simple little questions, you're probably not going to contribute much to the group.
But so, access to our Facebook group is of course free. We don't, anyone can join as long as you're in, the Northeast Ohio surrounding areas. But then we actually have paid memberships. In our paid memberships, we got 3 different ones. One's a silver membership, and like Jeff said, that starts at $30 a year.
Not a month, a year.
So, if you sign up in September, then you get all the rest of 2024 going in all of 2025. In a silver membership, it gets you attendance at meetings, which we do have some meetings that are member exclusive. It gets you 2 door prize raffles. So we have a raffle. We have our sponsors like 330 Corals. They donate, corals, equipment, and then every member that walks through the door gets 2 tickets. And we have a raffle at every meeting. And then we got discounts at our local fish stores and sponsors. So that's the silver membership. But then you can jump up to the gold membership. The gold membership is $50. And again, that's for the entire year. You get everything on the silver membership. Plus you get to use our par meter. We got a power inverter.
One of our 2 par meters now that we have.
And the only thing that costs you is your membership. We do bulk supply purchases. So like we've done inverts and cleanup crews in the past. We've done salt, so things that if we can get a discount buying in bulk, our gold members can get in on that. Speaking of the Frankenstein swap, if you're a hobbyist and you want to sell at the swap, you get a discounted table if you're a gold member. And as I already said, you get early admission into the frag swap. So great benefits. And then, we have our family membership, and that's a gold level benefits for a household up to 4. So everything I just talked about. So definitely, there's benefits, there's perks to being a paid member. But just being involved as a whole, definitely beneficial in your reefing journey. Richard. Richard had having issues with his tank. We said dinos, didn't we, Brian?
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And I think, if Richard would have posted that in some other group or some other forum, he would have got hit with how he's doing this, how he's doing this wrong, how he's doing that wrong. You got to do it this way. No, my way is the right way. What in our group, we are able to, several of us come up with the same conclusion, and give advice to help him move forward instead of telling him what he's doing wrong. So that's the nice thing about our group and what we have here at NORE.
In the majority of the time when somebody asks a question, there's already 3 answers that are all the same before I even have the opportunity. So people are so quick to help people out that like I don't even really have to get on there.
I'll agree with you on the quickness. There are times I see a post from like 40 minutes ago that I'll read the first answer and I'm like, I agree, and I'll just put what that guy said. Like, yep. Yes, that sounds great. Yeah. He beat me to it.
Yeah.
So drop your last minute questions here. Brian, I want to say thank you again. 1 for sponsoring this live stream specifically. 2 for joining us here. So Jeff and I talk a lot, and it's nice to have someone, someone outside of the group that you don't always see our faces.
A new face up here
exactly.
Well, guys, I had a blast. Thank you for having me.
You see my face all the time on our YouTube videos and everything. So it's definitely nice to have a fresh face. And thank you for your continuous support of the club. It is really nice. having your donations, being able to put your coral in front of people, and it's because of what you do that we can do what we do. So thank you so much for what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm glad I could help out, guys.
One last thing from Richard. I'm scrolling the wrong way. He said it did work. Still working on this problem. So he's seen some results. He had a huge dino outbreak. And
Richard, when I seen your picture, man, I felt your pain, dude. I felt bad. I think we've all been there before, but just keep putting in the work. It'll all work out.
Yeah, but there are several of us that suggested do a large water change, up your flow, manual removal, a whole bunch of things. And it was nice seeing everyone coming together. And I can repeat myself, I won't, but it's why the NORE Facebook group, definitely one of the better groups to be a part of. So we're an hour and 12 minutes in. If we don't have any more questions, I say we can wrap this one up. Anyone have any last minute thoughts they want to throw in here?
No, other than thank you again, Brian, for being on here. It's always great chatting with you, whether it's at one of our events or online or here on a live stream. So thank you as always, sir.
Thank you. Anytime, guys. Anytime.
And thank you, everyone, for joining here. And what was that last comment? Yeah, you're right, Kelly. Painful process, but getting there. But thank you for
nothing good happens fast.
There it is. We hadn't said that yet, and that was the issue.
Nothing good said that happens fast.
So thank you for everyone for joining us. Have a great night. We'll see you in the next one.
See you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Why isn't this video playing to get us out of here? Oh, that's why.
You hit the wrong button. It's your fault.
I did.
It's your fault. If we poke him, he'll go.